And now we head on to chapter 15. So when we last left off, Skune had just defeated Ruby, and now the gang has brought her back to the apartment so she can recuperate. Uh, the chapter starts off with Ruby having a flashback to her childhood with her family visiting the city, and Ruby is actually uh, taking this quite well. She's very fascinated with the city. So clearly, there was a point in time where she did not hate humans, and neither did her family. Her parent, in fact, it's her parents. I mean, it was her parents' hope that witches and humans could coexist peacefully. But oh, shock and all, fate has other plans. Uh, they are right in the midst of their uh, exploring of the city. They parents are killed by a drunk driver. Well, isn't that a well? That could make a commercial for anti-drunk driving. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at something like that. So anyway, uh, Ruby wakes up in the company of the gang, and the gang introduces themselves. Skune, Kurumu, Mocha, and Yukari, and uh, Ruby's contemplating on thinking that Skune uh, can't possibly be human since he defeated her, and no human could possibly defeat a witch. But Skune says that he is in fact human, and the reason that he was able to beat her was because he borrowed a bit of Mocha's power. And Mocha is shocked to find out that the rest of the gang are monsters, and she has a bit of trouble accepting that monsters, witches, and humans could form a friendship together. Uh, she even says this out loud in a bit of rage while holding Skune up close, which shocks Skune and opens up his shoulder wound, which the girls tend to, and Ruby is kind of shocked by looking at this. Yeah. And afterwards, she asked them why they saved her, and they basically said that they did it for goodness sake. And then the bus driver comes by and says he thinks the mission that they're doing, so clearly this is not a mere vacation, but an actual newspaper assignment, is getting too dangerous and may require backup if gone too far. Uh, which is what he's telling to Miss Nekonami, and Miss Nekonami is wondering what kind of backup could possibly be. And and uh, and then next, Yukari comes back from the store and has brought snacks, for the entire group, which clearly shows that she's gotten over her discomfort of being in a human city and being around people in general, and shows that she's actually getting adjusted to that, and she's finally committing to trying to understand people uh, instead of vice versa. Uh, However, Ruby is still refusing to accept humans uh, and the fact that they can be friends with witches. And she even goes so far as to attack Skune when he least expects it, but she's halted by uh, Skune when he offers her a soda. And Skune mentions that he sympathizes with her about the witch ranch being constructed over, and Ruby uh, says that it's too late for apologies and that her master is going to destroy the city as a retaliation for the fields being threatened. Ruby. Then we cut to Ruby's master, who is named Yukata, and she is informed by a crow that Ruby was defeated, as well as the other events that transpired. And she says that her army, which is literally uh, growing underneath the flower fields, uh, and that Ruby is the general that she molded with her ideals and experience and training, and that she is completely necessary to her plan, so she needs to get Ruby back. So, uh, we cut back to the gang, and Ruby reflects on Skune's kindness, uh, and thinks that maybe humans and witches could possibly be friends, along with monsters. I'm kind of a bit shocked by that, because I kind of thought witches would be included with monsters, but then again, back in chapter 5, they said that monsters don't consider witches monsters, so I guess there's that. Uh, but Yukari decides to come by and says that she wants to talk with Ruby, and they decide to go on a walk. Uh, and when they go outside, Ruby asks where her staff is, uh, since, as explained before, witches are unable to do magic unless they have their magical items, in this case a staff. And Yukari says that Ruby should stay with them a while longer, and and if she does that, maybe there'll be a chance that Ruby and Skune could become friends along with them. Uh, this leads Ruby to mention that her parents' death was by a drunk human, and she's part of the reason why she has a hard time trusting humans is because of that. And the rest of the gang are apparently eavesdropping on this. And this leads Ruby to saying that she's kind of envious of Yukari because she has a good friend like Skune, and she kind of wished she did too. This leads Ruby to run off at the streets, where she is met by Yukata's crow with her staff, and the crow tells her to return home. Apparently the crow can talk. Yeah. So the gang relents on how they almost became Ruby's friends, and now they'll never get the chance to do that. But the bus driver says if they don't go after her, Ruby and her master uh, will will enact their plan and wipe out all humanity. So they have to. So Skinny says that they have to go back not only to stop Yukata's plan, but to get Ruby back so they can redeem her. Ruby returns to her master, and Yukata knows everything that happened, and she's quite furious with it. She feels Ruby is becoming soft with humans and uses her vines to teach her a lesson, a la strangling her. So, but fortunately for Ruby, Yukata is distracted when the bus driver uh, wildly drives into the field. Uh, and thus the gang finally confronts the witches and can uh, sense Yukata's massive powers. And Yukata says that she knows that Yukari is a witch and wants to offer her one last chance to join her. But Yukari is not keen on this, so she refuses. This leads Yukata to summon her plant magic and use that to summon a giant man-eating plant monster to attack the gang. But fortunately, Kurumu is there to confront the beast. But Skune doesn't want her to. Skune says that he wants to help Yukata and Ruby come up with a non-violent way to save the ranch. Uh, uh, However, the master says that witch and humans' friendship is an impossibility, and uh, she tries to stab Skune with the vines, but Ruby takes the blow. But before she does that, she manages to stab the beast. Okay, so Ruby says that. Ruby says that she took the blow for Skune because uh, she wants to uh, she wants to believe in Skune and wants to work with him and the rest to protect the fields. And this leads Yukata to feel incredibly heartbroken and then stab Ruby again with a vine. And Yukata is so blinded by rage that she's going to uh, destroy everything herself. So things are really getting tense in this chapter. And now we're going to head into chapter 16 and 17.